Greetings humanity, and welcome once again to Channel Otherdock. I'm Jim, I use he, him pronouns, and this is Alas for the Angry Void, a reskinning of Alas for the Awful Sea by Storybrewers Roleplaying to tell a gothic science fiction story set among the stars. We're going to go ahead and go around and say hi to those folks we have here with us today, and we shall start with Hollow. Hello!
Hello, I'm Hollow, I use he, him pronouns, and I will be playing the role of Jackson Mead, purveyor of canned goods, who is the merchant confidant.
Yes. Confidant to all, including extraterrestrial beings. Yeah. Speaking of which, we shall now head over to Cleric. Hello.
Hello, I'm Cleric of Cord. I will be playing Fergus, who is the old sea dog, and one of the he's not human. I wouldn't exactly call him a creature, but yeah, it's pretty evident now at this point that he's not human, despite appearances.
The creature descriptor, which comes from the original Alas for the Awful Sea game, and mechanics are much similar, except we're applying it to extraterrestrials. But that said, you may see us use safety tools from time to time. Like we do with the other games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else. Hold up a card, make an X symbol, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we'll fade to black on it or put it behind a veil, so it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know it's okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think maybe that might have been a little too much, then everyone else can respond to that again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. We're also using the pause. If any of us needs to take some time, we can ask for a pause in the game while we discuss things, or just take a break for as long as anyone needs. As a reminder, just a few content warnings. This game may contain gothic themes like gloom, despair, intense emotions, macabre scenes, romance, and curses, along with references to violence, alien creatures, colonialism, crime, death, exploitation, family issues, separation from family, homesickness, loneliness, starvation, sudden decompression, the vacuum of space, and vengeance. If at any time you want to see the list of content warnings, you can type in !CW if you're watching live on Twitch, and that will show up there in the chat. It will also be showing up periodically on rotation, so you can see that as that comes up. Also, please remember that we have an open door policy, which means that any of us and any of you can feel free to step away from this at any time if we need to. It's just a game, and mental health is always more important. So, as you can see, once again, we have folks out, and again, this is real life. This will be the case possibly up until the end, which is coming very soon, as it happens. I do not know if this is the penultimate episode, but it could be. We'll figure that out basically as we get closer to the end. And the end is indeed coming. For things are afoot. The hour of judgment is near, and the void shall soon open. How widely it shall open is not yet known. What is known is that a key designed by the ancient cartographer Caladrin, or Caladri, has been stolen by Euphemia Teague, a dispossessed former aristocrat, assassin, and member of the interstellar power group known as the Ascendancy. She also happens to be the sister of Levitt Teague, also an assassin, and one of our protagonists, who recently found themselves on Mela Station in orbit around the planet Discordia in the Tauran sector. The station is an abbey dedicated to the veneration of Caladrin, and until quite recently, it was also Caladrin's prison. The key, a device designed to reroute dimensional corridors into that mysterious realm known as the Beyond, was being held secretly by some of the station's monks, a subsect known as the Sentinels of Nod, it was being held separately from Caladrin, who had been placed in a specially designed reliquary chamber that had been keeping them asleep for the last 1,500 years. Now, not long ago, Caladrin escaped following a shuttle collision that breached the station's hull and a riot of some of his worshippers. At that time, a squad of thugs from the Cinder Throne crime syndicate, operating under the direction of their employers in the Ascendancy, was attempting to steal the reliquary chamber, but the escape derailed that plan. While this was all happening, however, Euphemia took advantage of the chaos to slip into the Temple of Nod, fight and kill one of the Sentinels, and steal the key, departing the station afterwards in a second smaller ship that the Ascendancy had ready in the station's nearest docking bay. Fergus, the pilot of the CS Chimera, Irina Maynard, a religious scholar, and Levitt saw the killing and theft after the fact on a monitor once the station's security system was restored. On entering the temple, Levitt found a tactical pouch that Euphemia dropped during the fight. It contained a recording of their deceased father Baxter that required the presence of Levitt's DNA to unlock. They played the recording, and in it Baxter discussed some of his history with the Ascendancy and revealed that he left the group when he discovered that it had connections to powerful alien beings, connections the Ascendancy was using to attempt to control human civilization. Baxter had spent the final decade of his life draining his family's finances in an effort to thwart the faction's plans. He also expressed concerns that his friend, Wolf Greville, was attempting to recruit both his children into the Ascendancy. Baxter had made the recording in the event of his sudden demise. Here now was evidence that the Ascendancy, and perhaps Wolf in particular, might have been the ones responsible for his death. Irina, meanwhile, investigated the site of the shuttle collision in the station's main hull. Upon drawing near a particular spot between active points in the exposed circuitry of the reliquary chamber, she found herself in telepathic communication with an entity who revealed themselves to be Caladrin. Irina implored him to help prevent a forthcoming disaster that the crew and some of the passengers of the Chimera had been made aware of. Soon, a being known as the Magister will render a judgment ordering another being, known as the Warden, to release an entity from an extra-dimensional prison, and in so doing, suspend the progress of humanity in a fashion that will, in one way or another, eliminate a significant portion of the human population. Upon being asked to intervene, Caladrin revealed that after an accident a number of millennia ago, in which Irina's home planet was saved at the cost of another populated planet, he was no longer inclined to meddle in any species' future. But, after more conversation, they struck a deal. If Irina could obtain the stolen key and return it to them, Caladrin would, as they left this plane, start a chain reaction that would sabotage all of the dimensional gateways in the Tauran sector. He warned, though, that there would be a great deal of collateral damage in doing so, possibly costing quite a few lives, but it would prevent the Warden from being able to send any entities into this dimension for at least a few hundred years. If the key is to be retrieved, it must happen soon, because the Void has nearly had it with humanity, and its response to the destructive potential humans have shown is coming. Now, that which I have just revealed is, of course, a private deal that Irina made and has not, as of yet, revealed it to anyone, as far as I'm aware. So,
only
we'll
a
see.
couple hundred years? How selfish. Yeah.
That's just like Arena, you know?
I know, right?
Zealots.
Oh, a catastrophe for a couple hundred years. Get back to the bargaining table. Get a union.
Yeah. Hey, just kicking the can down the road there.
So what you're saying is next time, what Jackson is pushing for is not a new religion, but unions?
Yeah. Yeah. No religion, only unions. Yep.
Excellent.
I can live with that.
That's true. That was the stipulation of the agreement. No, no religion, only trade. Apparently, it is true that I will, however, let you know there was a brief moment during the conversation with Irina last time, where, and not long after making contact, when Caledron was like, oh, "Apparently, I have an agent now. You talk to that Mead person." And so she had that moment of just like, oh no. Where she found out that Jackson got to them first.
To profit is divine.
So time is going to move forward in a bit, but I need to know kind of how we're approaching things and what we are doing. There was actually there hasn't been much aside. You know, I read out a bunch of things, of course, but neither of you were present for most of that. Fergus was present for seeing, you know, what happened, and knows that Levitt's sister stole the key. But that's kind of where we sit. So at present, you still will have access to the station if you like. I'd just like to know kind of what you folks are doing.
Well, I think so. For Fergus is aware of what the key does. And if I'm not mistaken, he's also aware of this whole triangulation point that's going to happen with the, was it the asteroid? Comet.
Yeah, the comet, yeah.
Yeah, and I think he was aware that that's where they were trying to take Caledron's reliquary.
Yeah, that was you think probably the what was going on there.
So I think to Fergus's mind, that's where they're going to take the key. That point seems to be where everything is supposed to be coming together. So I think Fergus, whoever's around, Fergus is like, we need to go there. We need to get the key. Stop from using it.
What do you think is going to happen if the key's used?
Well, remember what I said when we were trying to leave the planet?
So you're bad shit, buckle up?
Yeah, kind of like, things being destroyed, people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
Basically, everybody dies.
Well, it can't be everyone, right? It has to be there has to be some people alive at the end of this, right?
No.
It seems off. The numbers seem off on that, but all right.
I mean, we're talking about entities that, to most beings, seem to be gods, or thought of as gods. And those are generally considered capable of, destroying all life.
Well,
I mean, the stories say it happens all the time.
Well, it seems to me that there are rules to this, and they get to be let out, and they get to do only what they're contractually obligated to do, and then they have to go back, right? So I mean, it can't be everyone.
That's not my understanding. My understanding was this thing comes out, one of these things comes out, and that's basically it.
Well, yes, they're going to knock us back to a point where we are safe because we're doing things wrong.
I'm not so sure that's the way to do it.
Probably not. I'm just pointing out it's not all of us.
Yeah, there's no guarantee though that we won't be one.
I have a pretty good guarantee. Well, it could not be us.
At what price?
Really, just being a listening ear to a long forsaken soul.
So you're willing to sacrifice a whole bunch of innocent people?
Not innocent. I'm really hoping we can really just I'm really hoping we can leverage things to get the worst people. I'm sure that's a permutation I'm working on.
How's that gonna work?
Well, some of these things want things. Some of these things, they all want something different, or there wouldn't be vying for anything. You just let one out and we wouldn't have to worry about any of this. There wouldn't be a person. There wouldn't be a person in charge of telling another person to let a person out. And also entities that seem to be vying with each other if they all didn't want something slightly different.
So they're just like the rest of us.
Right. They are failingly human. It's ridiculous. They have all this cosmic power.
Right.
Yes.
All this cosmic power to get rid of us.
Yes, and they're just like us. So, which means they can.
So you're going to trust beings just like us that have cosmic power?
No, I'm going to trust I'm going to trust the failings of need, want, trust, and loneliness and greed. You know, the things that motivate almost every other person. So yes, I can't trust people, but I can trust their motives.
All right. How are you going to guarantee the lives of the innocents?
Well, we have to figure out which one wants which. Every one of them has an agenda. We have to get the right agenda. It's like cheating a gotcha machine. Remember those from about 50 years ago?
Yeah. My question is why go through that when we can just, not have any of them get out?
Well, I mean, we have things like the ascendancy. I mean, we have to do some culling here. I mean, there's a whole lot of chaff on this wheat.
Who are you to decide?
I'm only looking. I mean, okay. Do you think that anything that the ascendancy has done in the past week has been good for anyone?
No, I wouldn't mind. But
Right.
If the ascendancy fails, that pretty much takes care of the ascendancy.
No, that means the ascendancy failed today only to do something stupid tomorrow, or to ruin someone else's life tomorrow, and on and on.
So, who else is on your list?
Mostly the warring factions are on my list, and they're all over the place. We have to cut the head off. Well, actually, more like cutting the strings from the puppeteer on the marionette, because they're all sitting in the rafters just playing with our lives. It's almost like we're in a microcosm of what's happening now. See, we have giant cosmic beings trying to play with our lives. We have the ascendancy and all those other people trying to play with our lives.
Oh, what's gonna stop those beings from playing with our lives after they get done culling?
Oh, we're just gonna lock it all up after we're done. That's all.
You let them out. How are you planning to lock them back up?
That tender ear listening I've been doing, good friend of mine.
I feel like I need Jackson to try to manipulate Fergus for this.
Okay, sure.
So, I definitely, he's making a promise that Jackson knows how this is going to work out, that he can make this work, everything. And I think Fergus needs that.
Jackson is always sure of himself.
Right, I know. Fergus isn't quite buying it, but as a player, for my character, I think he needs that.
Sure. Let me here.
Just as a reminder, when you do it with PCs, let me see if I have manipulate another for PCs, because that's the NPC.
On a 10 plus both, on 7 to 9 choose. I don't know if I can't get it to.
There it is. I didn't have it in the bar, but I can actually put it out there.
Okay.
There it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So, tell them what you want, and you roll plus beauty. And,
He's told Fergus what he wants.
yeah. And it says on a 10 plus both, on a 7 to 9 you choose one. And it's just what mechanical things happen.
Yep.
And if, of course, on a miss, then I make things worse.
Yep. But I think that's why I think Fergus, he needs Jackson to try to manipulate him on this. I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Look, I just want you to believe in the me that believes in you.
There's a reason why I never got into corporate work.
Oh, man. All right, manipulate another. All right, I roll beauty. Is that what that says?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. 10.
Oh my God. Okay.
So this is the thing you're trying to get them to. So if they do it, by which I'm taking this to mean if Fergus does what you want, they get +1 to their next roll. If they refuse, then they are acting under pressure.
So on a 10 plus both happen? I don't know how that.
Well, it's assuming, I think, that you're not that you're not doing it immediately necessarily. I think probably the way that that's set up.
Like maybe you change your mind and you see how it all unfolds, and you're like, actually.
All right. Yeah. No. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. So if they do, I get a +1 to my next roll. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. From the point you do it on whatever it is that we're asking you to do. What is it we're asking Fergus to do?
To go with Jackson's plan about letting somebody out.
Oh,
instead
right.
of trying to stop
that.
this. Instead of trying to stop this completely, Jackson is basically saying, "No, I've got this covered. I'm gonna manipulate this entity, and it's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be great."
Right. So Fergus, I think Fergus is. He's been with Jackson for a while. He knows that Jackson is a successful businessman, and Jackson carries himself with a great deal of confidence and assurance. And so Fergus is going to trust him. And all right, well, if you say you can make this happen, then all right. Tell me what you need me to do.
Well,
how can I help?
We're still gonna have to get the key, because that's the part of the lockup part at the end. So I have to go do some work. So you have the best lead on that.
Yeah, but that means we gotta head to that. I never can remember. Is it a comet or an asteroid?
It is a comet.
Comet. It means we gotta head to that comet. So probably Chimera is going to be the best way to get there.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, you have two options basically when it comes to getting to the comet. One is to wait until it's in the in the null zone, and then it should connect up with the gate. That's that enough has been mentioned, and so you would pass through the gate. So that's in like 3 days. The other option is to use the Chimera and to try to get there before anybody else does.
Yeah, I think that would be Fergus's the preference.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
Let's get the key out of their possession, have everything set up, before anybody else can really get there.
All right.
I like how the two non-com characters are going to go try to stop a fucking assassin, but that's all right.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fine.
Well, Fergus has got these big teeth, so
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. You can do stuff. You can fight.
yeah.
Okay, so I have a few questions I need to ask. First off, is there anything that anyone wants to wrap up at the station before you undergo this journey?
I don't actually have anything. Things have been pretty tidy for me.
Yeah, Fergus is gonna go want to talk to the other Ba, and just kind of let them know that they're going after the key,
Okay.
and that there is a plan that we're hoping to enact to keep the situation, keep the destruction to an absolute minimum.
Okay. All right.
And just, say, I think he's also going to ask them that it's possible that he may need to call on them to help. Would they be willing to do so?
Okay. Well, let me see.
In 3 days. So they would only have to go through the portal.
Okay, give me a second to I need to set up a thing real quick. Do. This isn't anything major. This is just fixing screens real quick because I want to.
Yep.
We need to have a little chat.
Okay.
So the you're gonna go back to probably you can talk to both Amon and if you let a little time pass, you'll be able to talk to both Amon and Cormac in the medical bay. And you're telling them that that you're going to go after the key. And so at that point, Cormac is going to just he's kind of sitting up. He's a little better. He says, What is your plan?
To retrieve the key so they can't use it.
From the one who took it.
Yes.
They looked rather expert. Are you sure you can handle that?
Well, it's not going to be just me. Yeah.
And
just a question, what happens if the key gets destroyed? Just if it happens.
the key is... They look at each other.
I mean, like if I have to blow up the ship, that they're on.
We're not sure. If the key
Fair
is
enough.
destroyed, then it may be nothing, or there may be something it is maintaining, any corridors it has been maintaining or keeping closed would have a chance to open again, perhaps.
Right, so we'll call that Plan Z.
Yeah, Amon nods, sort of in agreement. It's we don't understand everything about it, obviously, but we wanted it to do the least harm. We wanted them to, and he says, looking back in the direction of the north end of the station, we wanted them to do the least harm.
Right, well, I said, this whole thing is probably going to go down about 3 days, and I may need your help at that time. But we're hoping to head it off. But
also, I am concerned. Also, Cormac says, I am concerned that if you were to do such a thing, that we're not sure of what Caledron would do at that point. They might. But you might be facing his wrath.
well, there's a whole lot of maybes kind of could happen. And if we
and you
can
see
keep
both
the
of
least-
them actually actively wincing a little bit, just a tiny bit, when you respond that way. But go ahead.
I mean, there's a whole lot of bad outcomes, but some are less bad than others, I think. What we're looking at here. If we can prevent it all, great. I'll get the key, bring it back to you. If I can't, well, best we can do is hope for the least destructive outcome. But just sitting here and waiting ain't gonna do it.
Okay. There is a you can tell there's some sort of little bit of song passing between them that you can't quite identify. And they are hesitant. So now is the time for you to, I think, you are trying to convince them. This is yet more manipulation of another.
Oh no, this is not his strong suit. I can roll it's possible for me to roll a 0 with this, I think. So, let's see what happens.
I mean, unless you have something else that would work better here. But unfortunately, this is.
I was thinking others like me.
Oh, that might. Let me see here. Do.
He's essentially calling on them to help, just not in this moment.
Others like me, they come to help, but choose one. Okay, yeah, you haven't called on them yet, but you are calling. Yeah, we could make this a beyond roll though for that. Yeah, we can bend that move in that direction.
Okay.
We can kind of see how that goes.
All right, let's see how this goes. Roll beyond.
Oh, okay. So they come to help on a success, but you choose one. They also leave you with something puzzling and otherworldly. I'll go ahead and put the list you're choosing from here.
Yeah.
When they come to help eventually.
Yeah. I really want. I'm just thinking, having them appear in a monstrous guise. I mean, the Ascendancy is trying to release these otherworldly beings, and I think, but I don't think the Ascendancy is quite caught on that humanity is all that there is. They're so focused on that having 2, 3 clearly non-human entities is going to be enough to make the Ascendancy pause, or make those people there kind of go, well, wait a minute, it's not just, we're not just dealing. No. Oh, okay. I know what I'm choosing. They manifest as visions within the minds of those present. Let's go with that.
Okay. All right. So that is kind of the tact that they're going to be looking at, the way in which they're going to be thinking of helping when the time comes. You may wish to remind me of this when the time comes, possibly, depending on how this goes.
Okay. Cormac.
I will make a note also, but at the same time, chaos. So,
yeah. Sorry, Cormac, and I can't remember the other one's name.
Amon.
E-A-M-O-N.
Amon.
Okay. Cormac and Amon appear as visions when Fergus calls on them.
Okay.
Okay. I've got it in my notes.
Yes. Let me help. Manifesting.
And then
There's
there's
vision.
the something puzzling and otherworldly.
Yes. You're gonna get that in a second. Or dreams within
goody.
the minds of dreams within.
It's fine, y'all. This is gonna be fine.
Those present. Everything will be just fine.
Yep. I mean, what's
Everything
the
will be
worst that could
perfect.
happen?
So about what? Funny you should mention that.
Oh dear.
So they pause there. They're saying, and there's more back and forth. And finally, Amon's like, he deserves to know. And Cormac is just sort of like, very well. We will assist you as best we can.
I appreciate that.
You must understand the level that we are, of things that we are dealing with here. These are events for which we were not even present. We were not yet, we were not, neither of us had yet been born at the time, I think. If you wish to... wait. Yes, I have it. Amon says to you, do you know what happened to Val?
Since I left, no, I just
No.
Oh,
Long before.
I just knew that our son was dying, and that's why our people on our planet was dying.
There was a device, not unlike some called it a holy item. That operated on principles not unlike that of the key. But at that time a much greater magnitude. And if you wish to see what happened, I can provide you with the correct sequence to utilize in the relic in the library, and it will show you. For it recorded what happened.
I think I need to see that.
He nods. He says, once you see such a thing, it is a thing that cannot be unseen.
Well, I've seen a lot.
He closes his
Not saying
eyes.
I've seen anything like this, like what you're talking about, but it sounds like something I need to see.
He hums an odd little melody at you that you know is. It's not in your language, but you get it phonetically.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's not too difficult.
Can I? Ooh. I'm trying to decide if Fergus wants Jackson to watch as well.
Yeah. Well, Amon will also hand you a sort of this little data chit that will give you access to that thing in the case.
Yep.
Yes. This is the question. Do you want Jackson to witness this as well?
Yes, I think Fergus does. He's agreed to go along with Jackson's plan, but I don't think Fergus doesn't think that Jackson quite has grasped the scope of this. And so he's going to ask Jackson to come along.
Where are we going?
We're going to go see what happened to the place where I come from, my planet. Last time something like the key was used.
I see.
Jackson, I'm going to let you know that in the meantime, you have found out this is not difficult or anything, and you don't have to do anything at all about this if you don't want to. But you have found out that apparently, just from observing what people are doing, and overhearing stuff, you have found out that apparently they are holding Adira, and are going to be putting her off the station. They're going to be putting them off the station. There is apparently they don't do crime and punishment here type thing, but it seems like they are holding them responsible for the breach in the security system. And so
I'll allow it.
Yeah. All right, now just so you'll be aware, because apparently there was something up with they believe that Adira smuggled in a device that was disrupting their security, and they are apparently they're denying that they knew anything about it, but after speaking with the abbot, the abbot has decided it's safest just to make them leave. So they are on the next transport out. In the meantime, they're looking to see if there are any other devices anywhere around that might have been part of the whole thing. But, yeah. Anyway, just that,
Fantastic.
Any devices or remains thereof. So are the two of you going to the library? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I'm not gonna get mixed up in that. Like, oh, no. Yeah,
yes.
I get mixed up in that nonsense over there.
Yes. That thing that you had absolutely nothing to do with whatsoever, because there's no proof that you were.
Exactly.
Absolutely no proof that you had anything to do with any of this. Granted, they could perhaps, if they knew where to look, they could rewind the video footage from before the system started messing up and maybe see you wearing the pin, but that would take some time and they'd have to suspect it, so who knows.
It's the will of the saint,
It's the will of the saint. I think that's really what happened here. So, let's see. You're going to go into the library, which is in the sort of the visitors zone, again against the eastern wall. So you go in, and it's up on the third floor, I think I said.
Yeah.
And there is this display case that you saw before, and it has this strange sort of green microphone with a dish type thing attached to it. They're sitting inside the display case.
So I'm assuming I have to use the card to open the case.
Yeah, you just
That's what the card
basically
is for.
swipe it
Yeah.
past and the case
So
will
I do
open.
that. Yep. And then I hum the phrase, musical phrase.
Are we ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get some scope on this.
I need, so I'm gonna need, just briefly here, just to see how this goes. I'm gonna need 2 rolls I need you each to roll Sense What's Beyond, please.
Okay.
Great.
I'll take that.
Okay. We have 7s to 9s in both cases. Let me see. Sense What's
Fragments
Beyond.
and
There we go.
mysteries.
Fragments and mysteries. Okay. All right. Let's see.
Oh, can I apply that +1 to this?
Yeah.
All right, so let's make mine a 10 then.
Okay. So Fergus will receive slightly more clarity on this. Visions and truths, whereas Jackson is getting more fragments and mysteries. And so this device vibrates, suddenly hums to life when you hum this melody at it. You can see. I'm going to tell you that both of you, you're seeing stars, and you have a sense of time shrinking into itself, as though you have gone back. The planets have been moving backwards. The stars have been moving backwards to bring you to this point. With Jackson, this sensation, the sensations are almost overwhelming. Some of these that you're about to get into here. And there are these feelings of, it's like the void itself sort of rumbles for a moment with feelings of uncertainty and hope. As from a distance, Jackson and Fergus at first both see somewhere in the galaxy, you see highlighted 2 stars. Or actually, I'm sorry, you see highlighted there's this chain of stars, and each one slowly flaring brighter, until it comes to the last star. And it flickers, and it flickers. And this terrible feeling of the hope turning to loss and panic for a moment. And a sense that there's an interfering vibration from somewhere. And the hope turns to desperation and panic. And another star, very bright, begins to dim as something locks into place. It's like a clicking sound almost, as something locks into place. And the star that was flickering begins to slowly become brighter again. Fergus, you get to zoom in. There is, and Jackson had a sense of there being connections between these stars, actually. But Fergus, you can see them. These corridors being generated from this thing in space that looks like a large metallic butterfly, at the center of which, thrumming, is a key. And you feel these emotions coming from, you think one of them is Caladrin and the other one is someone else. And then there is this interfering wave, something unexpected, not a natural phenomenon, but perhaps it's a motion from another galaxy. Perhaps a wormhole has suddenly opened just outside of the galaxy. Because you're actually close to the edge of this galaxy. As you always have been. But you can see that as the one star flares up and the other dies down, and you can sense Caladrin and his partner panicking as this device shudders in the wrong way and the conduit clicks over to this other sun that was previously very bright. And as you see, you can almost sort of see that star and the constellation it is part of, you realize that you recognize the constellation. Because you left it hundreds of years ago. One star brightens, and the star warming vow dims. Until they are able to cease the operation of the key.
Did you see that star die?
I think so.
That was the star of my home. And it died because of something that interfered with a key that Caladrin had made, that was making corridors, connecting places. And something went wrong. And it left my people in the dark, barely surviving. Those are the forces we're playing with, that you think you're hoping that you can manipulate. Just want you to know what the unintended outcome can be.
I thank you for this context, and I will take that under advisement. We may need to do some shifting, but I haven't decided how yet.
Well, at best we have 3 days.
The problem is that even without the workings of these creatures, these gods, these entities, these biggins, as some of you would say, they are not the only existential threat. Our usage of the crystals are also ripping the galaxy apart. Our simple travel could be just as catastrophic as one of these entities arriving.
Are there ways of mitigating that?
The problem is that they're fast. The crystals are fast. Because people abandon the old lines. They abandon the old way paths. We'd have to find a way to manipulate entire governments into decommissioning star drives and going back to the old ways. Now, I do have a kick in the pants, if it were, in the way of I've obtained some old maps. We're actually going to probably make use of them to get to the asteroid faster. Of course, at your leisure is your ship, but yeah. But I have access to the two way paths that could actually move us around, probably at least half again as fast.
I'm willing to help you. I'll do what I can to that end.
Let's see if we can at least get this key first, so none of this really matters.
That's very true. Alright, I guess we head back to the moon and through the portal and get the Chimera going.
All right. All right. Let's do this. Let's go chase after an assassin.
Well, I mean, we do have an assassin of our own.
Is she going to drop out of a wall? I hope she drops out of a wall or a ceiling tile. That would be great.
Well, I mean, she's crashed a shuttle into a space station and an abbey, so I think dropping from a ceiling tile is probably the bare minimum we could expect.
Did someone pay her to assassinate a space station with a whole ship?
No, I think that was her idea of making an entrance. You know how dramatic Blevin is.
Right. I also know how much she loves, putting pointy ends in other people, so either thing could be true. Well, nothing's mutually exclusive. All right. Well, we'll just hope for assassin drop from ceiling, chase after assassin. We'll be fine.
Yep. We sent Levitt, if I remember correctly, we sent Levitt off to go get some rest. After she'd been upset, she'd heard the message, been upset, and then...
Levitt, basically, they walked off to try to figure out what they were going to do next. That was basically, I think, what Levitt was trying to figure out. So I'm going to do I'm going to do a bit of hand waving to ensure that when the people that should people reappear next session, they will be in the necessary place. There may be a tiny bit of catch up I do with them, but we're going to have them in the right place. Okay, so they can come with you on the ship if you want, is what I'm saying.
I was just going to have Farkas leave a message for both Irina and Levitt because he knows both of them are on the station. Rather than waste time finding them, letting them know that Jackson and Farkas are going back to the Chimera. We're going to take the Chimera to the try to intercept before everybody else gets there, and to please join us as soon as possible. However that happens.
Yeah. So and so it's a thing where just basically we'll check in with the players when we see them again, and if they want to be on the Chimera, they'll be on the Chimera. That's basically how I plan to handle that. If that's all right with you folks.
Yep. Works for me.
They'll have been waiting in the wings, doing other things until such time as this comes about. And if not, then they'll be doing something else, and we'll find out what that is. So that's its own thing. So you'll be re-entering the Illumination Chapel, going back through the portal to the moon. Back to the dungeon. underneath Aberlane Castle. And when you find yourselves there, you will see that it looks as though, I want to say, first of all, you do not see Signy there.
Okay.
As you're looking around, you will note that you arrive back in that chamber, and the warden does not appear to be close right now. So you do not see the big dragon in the darkness right now. You do see that Jansen is still here. The Hilliard Jansen, Signy's. Actually, it's unclear. She was treating him as a servant of some kind. Also looking over, you will note about half the people that were standing there frozen when you came through here before are no longer there. The Haberlane ancestors.
Interesting. Fergus looks around and it's like, they better not be on my ship.
Yeah, that would be inconvenient.
Yep. Yeah, so Fergus is like, oh, no, I gotta get to my ship, make sure that these assholes aren't there.
Oh, I do need to ask you another thing before, actually, I forgot something.
Okay.
Because things I need to check. I gotta check the boxes.
Yep.
I presume there's, all manner of final checking, on finally checking in before you leave the station, with, when checking in with the Sentinels and what have you, and, and Cormac and what have you in the med bay, that, Dr. Stoppard will, especially if Levitt and them are leaving with you, will offer to accompany you to help if you wish.
Fergus is not sure that he really trusts Dr. Stoppard, but Dr. Stoppard has been assistance. I can't remember what Dr. Stoppard's relationship is with Levitt. Are they on good terms or not?
Well, they don't really know each other terribly well. From what you can tell, Dr. Stoppard is Rust's friend. Oh,
that's right. Yes, going to if Dr. Stoppard wants to come along, they're welcome to. Yeah, if they ask to come along, then that's fine.
Okay. That's good. Now I can put things into a timeline. Good. There we go.
Okay.
Things. This is where we get into strange sort of meta things where we don't know who's going to what players are going to appear later. So things, there are certain dials that may be turned later to provide more detail on certain things. But one of those is coming up now that decision has been made. On your arrival at the castle, Jansen will ask if you need anything. He does the whole, I trust you had a good trip. Is there anything you should be needing?
Just need to make sure that my ship is in good working order, and we supplied before we left, so we should be good. Thank you. Where is everybody?
Oh, And he'll say, oh yes, they left with Mr. Signe.
To go where? Out of curiosity.
I don't know. I'm afraid
Oh.
it's nothing I can. It's nothing I'm given to speak of.
Right. So you're one of them funguses.
He says, "Oh, I don't know what you. Oh, I can't say I know what you mean, sir."
That's all right. Sorry. You just you take care now.
May I ask where you're heading?
To my ship.
Very good. You have a pleasant journey.
Why does this guy make me want to punch him?
Yeah, I just very uncomfortably put her arm around this guy's shoulders. My good man, Signe sent me to enact the other leg of her plan. I do need to go know how to get in contact with her.
I will need you to manipulate another. This once again is beauty. Okay, you got an 8. They change the terms to suit themselves or demand concrete assurance first. He says, excellent, you have it then.
We are going to get it now. We're going to get it now.
You didn't bring it back with you?
Oh, you mean the pin? I'm talking about...
Oh, yes, we're rather counting on that data.
It's with the Starline Associative. She's on the next flight out.
I see. You are all right with the particulars, yes? She was rather glowing about your part in things.
Well, I am quite all right with many things, but I would love to stay all right with Signe after this is all said and done.
Oh, well, certainly. It'll be all right. And he's sort of trying to be reassuring. He says, it can seem like a big step at first, but, just as long as you're in the right place at the right time, and I'm sure it'll all come to you. You'll be just fine.
Yes.
Just be ready.
Yes, but I will assuredly be ready for what comes.
Good, excellent. And, oh, that's right, you were asking how to get in touch with her. He says, oh, good, excellent. Giving the timing, I don't know if you've time, but I do believe they are meeting at the rendezvous point.
Very good. Now I'll have to play a guessing game of what that fucking point is.
In my head, this guy looks like the butler from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. He is actually he has that, a little bit. He's maybe a little less hunched over, but yeah, basically. He's,
I ask him, are there any secondary rendezvous points in case one is compromised?
Oh, this is an excellent question. Let me see. He says, oh, well, it probably would have fallen back to the, well, she might have fallen back to the third asteroid, but that again is... I don't know if you're going to have an opportunity to speak with her alone at that point, so I'm going to let you know. But she would undoubtedly, if yes, that's undoubtedly the place. Yeah.
Always pays to be prepared.
Of course. Yeah. It's so good to have you with us.
It's good to be here. And with that, I stop being chummy and I get on the ship and I go wash my hands.
Yeah. You ever get that feeling when it was uncomfortably kind of almost like meeting, going to a no, it's not like that. There's clearly something there's clearly expectations there that he has of some conversation that you and Signy did not have.
Yeah, we totally did not have a conversation about anything. I was like, yeah, yep, stuff. Ooh, that's bad. Oh, I gotta get out of here. Yeah. So fall back to the third asteroid. I could say with context clues, it could mean that the second asteroid, if there is a second asteroid, Fergus, is there a second asteroid?
So I'm going to specify again that we've been previously talking about a comet.
Sorry,
but there is this specifically he did say asteroid.
Fergus is gonna. I mean, he's got his navigation maps and of the sector and everything, and these bits are there. So I think he's just gonna kind of pull up a map of that area, and of this kind of like the triangulation of the space station and the planet and everything like that, and look for three asteroids that are.
Close together, maybe
within relative, and whether it's this planet, whether it's by the space station's planet,
they have to be sizable enough to at least hold some kind of facility,
right? So he's Fergus will pull up his maps.
So there are a lot of abandoned settlements in this sector, from back during the earlier booms that happened, and since dwindled down to nothing. There were all kinds of mining there were all kinds of mining booms here, even before Argolite was a big thing. Initially there was, but I mean, initially you had a lot of people coming into the system for Argolite. There is an asteroid belt. And so it's around that. Let's see. There's an asteroid belt that I guess you would say is in a relative orbit around the Discordian system.
Okay.
Where you were just, which was where Mela Station is. And so that might be the asteroid belt that's being referred to.
And that would make sense.
All right. Well, Signy's might be there or heading there at some point first. I knew you were trying to figure out where the hell she went, or if we could get a hold of her. But she might be there. It's the best I could wrestle out of Jeeves outside.
Right. Well, she's there. We're not. Let's go.
Right.
And Fergus has checked in with Trinket, because Trinket was basically keeping the one responsible for the ship along with Ross.
Oh, yeah. Let me take a look quickly at the ship's manifest just to see if there's been any horrifying mischief going on of any kind.
And his Percy's son, well, the person he assumes is Percy's son, and he's going to check in with them as well, because he has them to kind of make sure that the nuns and everybody else, there wasn't any big confrontations while they were gone.
Well, let's see.
Dear.
I think. Let me check my. My list here. Here we go. Here's my passenger manifest. Let's see. We have a tattoo artist, a homesteader, an undertaker, a public counselor, a school teacher, a glass artist, a barber, a brewer, a tailor, a woodworker, a mining equipment salesperson, a gardener, an entertainer, a mechanical repair person, a scrap merchant, a shopkeeper of Metaxas's oldest curio shop. We have a couple of bread merchants, and then we have a couple of Ashendaris supplicants and a young Cinder Throne soldier.
Well, at least we'll have plenty for ham sandwiches.
Yes, that is possible. Same bread merchants that Jackson met on the earlier.
Yeah.
Ham and bread.
Yes. I think that just for fun, I think that Fergus, I'm going to ask you to do this as acting under pressure, just to sort of see how things went.
Okay. This is balance, right? Okay. It's just a 0.
BALANCE.
It's a 7. Okay.
Balance.
Oh, gee.
Okay. A 7 to 9, you falter, buckle, or break. The GM can offer you a worse outcome, a hard bargain, or an ugly choice. Slight issue. Just a slight one. And that is that Demetrius and Diana, the Darist supplicants, have at this point been hiding in their quarters. They've been hiding in a room, and because a couple of the merchants kind of realized who they were and are wanting them put off the ship. And for their safety, Evan, Evan Quaid, the Cinder Throne soldier, had them lock themselves in their room and is kind of blocking off access to them for now. There are a few of the merchants that are kind of like a little upset, and are thinking that they should not be permitted to continue on this voyage, wherever it's going.
Right. Marcus doesn't have time for this shit. And that's kind of where he's at, and he's looking at. He doesn't have time to deal with this pettiness, and to. So I think what he does is, he's gonna ask Evan if there's anybody else that Evan trusts to help him keep watch, stand guard on these Dorists. He's like, we're heading out. I don't have time to fix this. I'm not putting anybody off my ship. But I don't need any further trouble. Is there somebody else you trust to help you with this?
Well, let's see. Looking over the list of people. See, who does he know? Oh. Yeah, he actually, he will, let me see if I need to find Evan again real quick in my brain. It feels like it's been months, somehow, even though it's been only maybe a day since you've seen him. Let's see. Oh, okay. He says, and there one or two. He sees Stoppard coming in. He's like, "Oh, hi, Doc." So he knows Dr. Stoppard, but doesn't really want to use them to help physically defend anything. But he will kind of surprisingly look over at the homesteader at some point. And it's like he'll think, there's one or two we can, there's a couple we can rely on to, I think, to make it work. And one of them, surprisingly, again, is Luna the homesteader, who is just basically, you see some sort of look exchange between him and her that's a bit like he's like the kind of just sort of it's a little, he's not scared or desperate or anything yet, but he's just sort of like this you are going to help me now, right? Look, as though he kind of has something over her.
Okay.
And she will just sort of like, yeah, okay. So it's like almost guiltily. And so let's see, trusts her probably. Let's see, there is the counselor, Lowell the counselor will probably help out. And the let's see, and the school teacher, Lux, the school teacher, will probably help out also.
Okay. He's going to kind of take Evan aside, walk him away out of earshot of everybody else, and then very quietly tell him where the location is of the nearest weapon safe and how to get into it if he needs it.
Okay. All right, you got it.
All right. Right. Let me know if anything happens or is about to happen. I'll get down here as best I can.
Yeah. Will do.
All right. You can always let Trinket know. Trinket can come get me too.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Great. We're headed to a client. We need to retrieve something. So it's going to be a quick flight.
All right.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Take care.
No problem. You got it. And so he is now trying to help take care of that. We'll see how things go.
Fergus is just kind of he was coping, and now there's this stuff happening on his ship, and he basically wants to go in and grab the darts and go, look, it's not a fucking god. You don't have a god. It's just another entity. Powerful, yes, not a god. Get your shit together. And then he wants to go to the merchants and go, what the hell? Get over it, But he can't. He doesn't have time for this. So he just kind of goes, after he talks to him, he starts stomping off, and he's just stomping through the halls of, unlike his normal demeanor on the ship. Right now, Fergus his good nature is a little thin right now, so he's just kind of stomping as he's walking through.
Yeah.
As soon as he gets onto the bridge with just him and Trinket, he is going to explain to Trinket what's going on. He's going to sum it up, basically.
Yeah. Trinket was very excited to see Jackson return.
Yes. Yeah.
So as you were kind of coming into the hallways, and as Fergus was having this conversation, Jackson, you saw the horrible orange cat just sort of come lumbering closer and closer. But then
God damn it.
there was a sudden reprieve as Fergus, called Trinket and they then goes, still Trinket is still wearing their utility harness, basically where they're carrying a bunch of tools. And Fergus, you lay everything out for Trinket, who seems to pay attention.
Yeah. Yep. He looks at Trinket. He says, "Now, when you came on board, I made your parents a promise to keep you safe, and I'm going to do that. That's why we're doing all of this, because I'm not going to break that promise. So whatever happens, you'll be safe."
Oh.
Right.
Yeah. Just basically, it's they're just asking if it's like, am I putting people in danger?
Yeah. No. Is I just want you to know that whatever happens, we're trying to stop this, or at least mitigate it. And there's a plan, several of them. But whatever happens, you'll be safe.
Trinket, I think, doesn't quite know how to take that. And again, to Fergus, Trinket appears as this gray, bedraggled cat.
Yeah.
And is just like, just sort of does this sort of walks in a little circle for a moment, as though, because you seem to get the impression that Trinket feels like it would be safer for everyone if they leave, so you don't have to watch me type deal.
No. That's not it, Trinket. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that something's about to happen that could pretty much destroy this galaxy, or part of this galaxy, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that doesn't happen.
You get that sort of the stunned cat meme for a moment, where it's just sort of like,
Yeah. Because for Fergus, he's taking this. I mean, he watched what happened to his planet, and and his planet dying, and he's seen a lot happen over the hundreds of years that he's been alive. But that's on such a grand scale that he can't think about it in that way. He has to bring it down to personal. And for him, that's that promise that he made to Trinket's parents, was that he would keep this cat, he would keep his friend safe. And so he's taking this huge event and bringing it down to a purpose that he feels is manageable for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. He can't think of himself as trying to save the universe or the sector. But if he can keep Trinket safe, then he's kept his promise.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think Trinket gets that. They just basically, they're like, okay. And they're like, we'll just sort of hop down and start heading off to, just going to start checking on the different ship systems to make sure that everything's good.
Yep. And then that's when Fergus will reach out to Jackson about those maps.
Oh yes, the maps. Yes, let me transmit. Jackson is not going where Trinket is. That's not happening.
So you have this you got this big crystal that has the maps coded into it. You can rig a way to between you and Fergus, you can rig a way to read the maps. I mean, you could actually, funnily enough, it would have been an option to use that device that was sitting in that relic device that was sitting in the library to use the map, to read the maps as well.
I caused like a religious war in the middle of that library. I gotta,
might be,
I can't be going around doing everything, like
that's fair. That's fair.
It's a little bit beyond checking out a book.
It is a little beyond checking out a book. That's true. But you can convert it. It's part of the reason why you can convert it is because your the Chimera is an older ship. So you have still parts that you can use. You may have to power down the captain for a little bit while you're reading it, because the best way to read this is through the hollow circuitry.
Yep. But Fergus, as soon as he sees his crystal, starts singing, just to see what happens. Because
it's
well, we're humming as we do this.
As you're able, nothing. I'm not going to call for a roll and make weird crap happen, as is my constant desire to do, because But here you get the sense of it, and it tells you which parts of the system to use. It's like, okay, the data's kind of in there. This is this is older. I haven't seen one of these in a while.
Well, look at A-Track.
Basically, it's like a wire recording, I think I said.
Okay.
But so yeah, you're able to. But yeah, for you, it's more like an 8-track. So you're like 300 years old, and so yeah, you're able to get this, the things set up, and you can cause the map to be displayed. And so there's a bit of refinement that has to happen, is when you turn it on. Where do you do this, by the way? Where on the ship do you do this?
This is on the bridge.
On the bridge, okay.
Quite suddenly, that's where all the navigation stuff is.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, so yeah.
Quite suddenly, the bridge is filled with an entire galactic quadrant.
The first thing that Fergus does is look for that chain of stars.
Okay.
I think that's just where his brain goes. Then he'll look at the route, but
there's a lot of information in this map. As you're realizing, as this thing unfurls, and you've got stars all around you. It's the holo projector is emitting, and it's like there's a and I'm not talking about they're just stars. There are notations.
Yeah,
just sort of points, degrees of travel of some objects, and this is this is where the stars should be at this point. This should be a current map.
Yep.
Barring any major
disasters,
catastrophic updates or things that have happened that were not possible to predict by the path of the stars within the last 1,500 years. But it should be pretty accurate. So any accounted for disasters are reflected in there. So natural disasters you're fine. But let's see. As you are all reading this map,
he's a little overwhelmed at first, and then just kind of, wait, I have stuff to do, and so he's trying to figure out how to manipulate the map so that he can zoom in, if you will, to locate the moon that he's on.
Yeah. So between you and Jackson, you'll start figuring it out.
Yeah.
I will need somebody. Actually, there's going to be a roll coming up in a moment, but I want to find out more.
Okay.
Yeah, you're able to sort of zoom in eventually as to, because it's the western spiral arm of the galaxy, you figure that out. And ultimately sort of see, okay, we're in the Tauran system, and you eventually are like, okay, you can finally pull that up. In the Tauran sector, rather, I should say. There are multiple systems in this sector. Multiple star systems. So you're able to kind of figure out where your sector is. What are you looking for?
What's in landmarks? Places that he can identify, so that he can then he wants to create the triangle and find the triangle within this 3D space.
Oh, yeah, where the third point of the triangle is supposed to be.
Right.
Okay.
And then from there, he can backtrack to where the asteroid currently is.
And I just want to specify.
Sorry, the comet.
Yeah,
the comet.
because now there is both a comet and an asteroid, so I just want to.
Yep.
So we're going to have to distinguish.
Comet.
Between
Comet.
the two.
He wants to, once he can pinpoint where that third point is on that triangle, he's then going to work back to trace to where the comet currently.
Where it should be now. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. In 3 days it'll be here, so it should be here.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna say that in and of itself is not going to be a problem.
Okay.
Do you want additional information?
I can see the lines. Fergus can see the lines, the ley lines that Jackson was talking about.
You can see the
Yes.
paths, the ways, the ways, the different the lines, the different galactic lines, the old lines, right? That's
yes.
What Jackson was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, there is a layer on the map that you can turn on and off that will show kind of what a lot of the grooves that are already there that are easier to travel through without doing damage. And where they would approximately be now. Yes.
Yeah, that's what Fergus is looking for. After Jackson has told him about the damage that the crystals are doing, to see if there is a path to where they need to go.
Yeah.
Or get them at least closer. Get them close.
All right. So there are a couple of things. I mean, it's safer just ecologically speaking, I guess. If that's the right word, I have to remember what that is. Does eco refer specifically to a planet? I can't remember.
No.
Okay, good.
Refers to a system.
But so it is safer to, even if you're using crystals, even if you're using Argolite to take those paths, they're just, it's kind of like, the thing is, it is slightly less efficient. It's like, taking Route 66 nowadays, basically, which is not as fast, but it's more scenic. But that was actually part of the whole point of and Jackson is remembering it was part of the whole point of the Quantum Line initiative. They were going to use those paths to do that. They were going to set gates along at least, one of those paths and do that. A good cause being funded for evil reasons. Anyway, there's a thing here. There's a thing here. And I'm going to ask you to read a situation.
Okay.
Because there are things. There are things involved here.
All right.
And we must see where we land.
Oh.
That's a very good roll.
Yes.
You got a very good roll. So in I'm sorry. I'm just going to display this real quick. That apparently we're running with the hashtag ends justify the me. It's important. It is a miracle of the saint. But let's see. So this was reading a situation.
Yeah.
And so you get to ask 3 questions that are on this list.
Okay.
And I shall give you answers.
So obviously the first one is going to be, what's my best way past? What's the best path to travel?
Okay. So to get to where the comet is now is not going to be, if you're using one of these ways, it'll take a little longer, but it's not going to be in and of itself a problem.
Okay.
It's so you can figure out how to kind of loop it. You're going to end up a little closer to. Let me explain a little bit.
Okay.
Where the triangle is, if you were to just take off in the ship and just head for the point on the triangle in the null zone, that would take you about half a day to get there. And so it's going to take you a little bit longer than that to get to where the comet is, or actually you're probably going to end up getting to where the comet is going to be in a little less than a day.
Okay.
If you're taking those paths, like
Okay.
I said. Probably. Now, so you've got a route that will get you to that position.
Okay.
But you're also aware there are other things that you have yet to fully figure out about the situation.
So Fergus gonna ask Jackson, what's better, to get to the comet before it gets there, or to get there and wait for the comet?
I think that we should beat people to the punch. I know that's not ecologically sound, but we are trying to save the universe to save the universe. So it's all.
So go to the point where the comet's going to be.
Yes, to beat them there, to beat everyone else there, because people are already on the way there.
Okay. So that's Fergus is going to put mark that route. That'll get us there in half a day.
Okay.
To the point in the null zone.
Yeah. It's before it gets into the null zone if you're going there,
right?
Because it's not
yet.
Enter the null zone.
We're going to get to the point that it's headed towards.
Yeah.
What should I be on the lookout for?
Here's the thing about the comet. There's a reason why it's called the spectral comet.
Okay.
As I said, the problem isn't getting to the comet. You, faster than light travel is much faster than the comet travels.
Right.
So that's not the issue. It is fast for a comet, but it's not like supernaturally fast for a comet necessarily, if you take my meaning. So
yes.
It's still at best like somewhere around. I actually calculated this. I didn't calculate this. I'm going to specify. I'm not that good at math. I'm good at math, but I'm not that good at math. I looked some things up and eyeballed some things and figured out roughly how fast the comet was going. And it's on the faster end of the spectrum of comets, so it's not like the fastest comet we have ever seen. I think it's like 150,000 kilometers per hour or something like that is what I'm thinking would be this one, whereas the fastest we've seen is like 175,000 kilometers per hour. Right. I think, if I'm remembering those numbers right, which I might not be. I might have the specific units off. I'm not sure if it's kilometers per hour or if I'm thinking of something else, but I think that's what it was. But not important. Yeah, but anyway, it's so and speed of light is much faster than that, so you're good. But the thing is, it's the spectral comet, and that means it does two things. Because what you have in front of you is historical information. I need to point this out, even though it's been wound forward to approximate today.
Okay.
So you know where the comet roughly should be, according to math. And according to what its orbit has traditionally been. What its path has traditionally been. Now, the thing being that some of the comet's properties do, as I said, two things. One, it confounds sensors. So it's hard to pinpoint it unless you're looking at the thing.
Okay.
Like with the naked eye. Two, it phases in and out. According to this information in front of you, you have more information on this comet right now than probably humanity does. And this comet fades between dimensions. So it's not entirely stably in this one. So not only do you have to figure out how to sense it, you have to figure out when it will appear in the right phase.
Okay.
And that's when you can land on it.
So definitely going to where we think it's going to be in the null zone is going to be better for us than trying to get to it now.
Well, the easiest way to get onto the comet would be to wait until either it's right at the null zone or maybe a little bit before.
Yeah.
That would be the easiest way.
Yeah, we're going to do things the easy way.
Okay, all right. I'm going to say, you could figure it out.
No, we're going to do things the easy way.
It would be harder, perhaps slightly more dangerous, but you could do it if you wanted to try to get there beforehand. Now, if you do that That is, of course, also possibly when other folks might be able to get there.
Yep.
Just so you're aware.
That's why we're trying to get there ahead of them. We can already be there. That gives us the surprise. Yeah.
There is something of a race now that is going to be going on. Yes. Okay. You have a third question if you would like to ask it.
What here is not as it seems?
Let me see. You don't entirely you still don't entirely know the properties of the null zone. But so there's this thing, in a sort of weird sense. Looking at it on this map, that it's always seemed as though the null zone just throws off people's, ships, entire ship systems, and it's very difficult to navigate. Causes problems with your ship sensors. And the weird thing is there is a sense, as you're looking at it, and you've been looking at the information on the comet, and you can even move the projection forward a little bit to see the comet entering the null zone, or again in this model. And you see that there's a notation that I need to point out that you probably don't necessarily read this alphabet, but from some of the symbols used and from some of what you're seeing, that there is a notation that, and you think it's kind of indicates, based on the way the colors change on the map, that there's some kind of synchronization going on when the comet gets into the null zone.
Okay.
Like maybe the conditions help. The weird conditions in the null zone normalize the comet.
Okay.
But also, here's the thing. You're able to kind of pull back and look at the triangle. You're sort of getting everything. You're looking at all of this. And I think that the insight that's going to come to you, because this is something else that you were looking at and studying, is you're thinking back to that house symbol. That's you're still parked in the basement, so you could actually even look out and see. And you kind of realize that the way things are arranged, in that, and then also in just sort of insights you got when you were kind of talking to the warden earlier, as far as there were sort of thinking about the shape of things, you remember the way certain things and what the warden looked like. And if you were to impose that pattern of the dragon, the coiled dragon, you would note that it actually fits right into this. And the area of the null zone is right on the dragon's eye.
So what Fergus sees is, or what Jackson sees, is Fergus standing there, and he's been studying this map, and he's been looking at notations and painting things and kind of humming to himself. And then you see Fergus, the finger, start drawing in the air, almost like connecting dots, doing a connect the dot thing. And he starts drawing in the air. And then he gets to the null zone, or he finishes his drawing. The eye. It's the eye.
What is the eye?
Fergus points over to the house, this I forget what they're called. The shield that's got the tower with the serpent.
Yeah.
And he draws again. Pay attention to the serpent. And he draws the shape of the serpent from the shield into the space, ends it, and points to the null zone. It's the eye.
Yeah. And now, Jackson, you can see that too. That Ferguson is, Fergus is kind of, it does. Yeah, it looks like it's about if you were to put that coat of arms pattern, like right there, that would be about the space of the triangle, and then that would be where the eye goes.
It's the Warden's Gate. Fergus goes over to the intercom, turns it on. We're departing in 30 minutes. Everyone, please return to your quarters and stay there until further notice. Thank you. Clicks it off. He's not going to tell it. Evan knows that doesn't mean him.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
The necessary sounds are made of people shuffling around.
And we launch.
All right. Okay. The ship takes off. And you blast away from the moon of Azoth and out into space. And is that where you're going? Are you headed to position yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how far how far are you going in the null zone, or are you going in advance of the null zone, or how do you want to handle this?
So I know where on the map. I have a good idea of where the comet is going to enter the null zone.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point that I'm heading for.
Okay, so just the edge of the null zone, not quite in it?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, all right.
At least for now. That may change.
It was important for me to ask that question because there's a question of your ship's remaining operating when you get there. And so you're heading in that direction. It's going to take... Are you going directly there, or are you trying to take an existing... one of those older ways to get there? Remind me.
I was going to take an older way, but I think Fergus is starting to feel a sense of urgency the longer he studies this map. So we're just,
Okay. You can be at that point.
Sometimes you got to say screw the environment, and
you can be at that point in a little over half a day.
Okay.
And let's see. There will come a point where this thing will come up, and it's fine if now is not the time during this half a day trip. But the question will come up. Let me see. Let me see if I have the note. Do I have the note? Where is the note? Let me see if I can find it. I must have the note. There it is. Do you want to take any time during this time to answer Stoppard's 5 questions that you promised that you would answer, so long as you're not giving away other people's secrets?
Oh, that's right. I'm debating. It's going to take us a half a day.
I will put it... Go ahead.
I was going to say, Fergus will give them an hour of his time to answer the 5 questions, because Fergus needs to take a nap.
Okay.
He hasn't... It's been a couple of days since he slept, which again is not uncommon, but it's going to get busy again, and needs a nap.
Okay.
So he will, after everything is set and settled, he will then call Dr. Stoppard and ask them to join him on the bridge. And I have an hour to answer your questions.
Before we do that, real quick, let me also check in. Jackson, is there anything you would like to do before the ship arrives?
No. I mean, I've been trying to piece together all of this and consider the best way to do any of this, and and how much self-interest do I really want to put forward. I mean, how many hams will I not sell based on construction of this place?
That is an important question, because you do need still there to be people to sell ham to, even if you are the scion of the Reaper. You need to leave enough people alive to support the ham industry.
Yeah, like the ham industry has to survive. Also, I have to become the Quantum Line Initiative. I am the Senate.
Yes,
that kind of thing,
it's important. And I mean, the only other person that could have that could have challenged you for that position has just been put off molestation, and who knows what's going to happen to their reputation after that.
I was never there.
Banned for life from molestation.
I know. Fergus, do you want anyone else present when you answer these questions, or do you want to answer them privately?
Answer them privately. If Trinket wanders in and out, that's fine. Okay.
You get the sense when Stoppard comes in that she's not... How do I put this? She's not going to be... I actually need... There's a reason why I don't actually completely know what his emotional state is yet, and that has to do with things that other players might do or be doing.
Okay.
But I will say that what you get a sense of is that they're not really... He doesn't want to... He understands if you don't want to answer any of these, basically, is kind of sort of the... He doesn't say that outright, but you get that sense where it's like... Mostly it's like... And also seeing, you're going to get the sense that there might have been more of a thing of, like, even in the moment thinking back, it's like, just let me freaking treat you. Okay, I'll make a deal.
Yeah.
Type deal.
Yeah.
But here are the questions, if you're ready.
Okay. Yep, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Stoppard is, before beginning, Stoppard would say, well, if you don't mind terribly, I would like to make a recording of this if that's possible.
I do mind. You can take handwritten notes.
Understood.
And do not to share them with anyone.
And she'll sort of nod absent-mindedly. All right. How old are you?
Let's see. Best guess 300, give or take 50 years.
You look very good.
Oh, well. Trying to, humans and their appearance is gonna kind of change it up a little bit every now and then. I kind of like this one.
Mm-hmm.
People want somebody they can trust running their ship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's good to be able to adapt to things like that when you can. How long ago did you leave your home planet?
250, 300, about 250 years, give or take. I was 50 when I left, by my planet's reckoning. Still just a child.
This one's going to be a little broad, but so I will understand if you need to limit it somewhat. What do you remember about your time on Planet Val?
It's dark. It's cold. Hunger. Trying to find food without becoming food.
The fourth question, if need be, I'll come up with a substitute. But for my fourth question, I'd like you to answer that same question again in your native tongue.
He sings. And it's very it's very haunting.
You can see that she's fascinated, and listening very intently, and has started, even without looking down, is writing, and you don't know if it's like in shorthand or what it is, what kind of notation he's using. But when you finish, as you're finishing, you kind of get her a second. She closes her eyes and is thinking about something. Last question. I don't know how odd this question is going to seem to you. But if you feel you can say, what is it like when you dream?
And this is exactly what Fergus is doing. I'm kind of dreams. Well, I can't say I know what other people's dreams are like, so I really don't know how to compare. Well, memories, not memories. And he's trying to be very non-specific. He knows what his dreams are like. He knows that sometimes he dreams of the void and all of that. He's just never understood what those dreams were until he met Cormac and Hemont and understood what was kind of going on along with the warden. Those dreams are starting to make sense now. But he also dreams about his time, over the last 300 or so years that he's been living among humans. And by the way, this is what Trinket looks like to Fergus. So those, I guess, are real dreams. There's almost always music in his dreams. And I'm trying to think, this is not what he says to her. He just kind of leaves it at that vague, not knowing what other people's dreams are about or like.
Yeah.
I can't really.
Oh, okay. So you don't actually tell them any of these things that you've just said about memories.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I think he would say, I guess, what do other people dream of? Some things are normal, not normal.
Perhaps we can come back to this question. I have a way I could tell you, and if you're interested, I have a way I could show you. But perhaps now is not the time.
No. Going to be a couple of days.
Of course. Later, then we'll table that one.
Fair enough. He's thinking, yeah, if we're all still alive.
Yeah. And you could almost tell that was the one he was kind of most interested in, that question, for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. But it's perfectly fine to leave that where it is for now and then maybe come back to it later. Yep. Okay. Excellent.
Nice.
Go ahead. Yes. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Was there anything else you wanted to? Okay.
Nope.
You're going to drop out of faster than light space, and you're going to be sitting there and waiting for about a day and a half before the comet appears, or you think it's going to appear. Do you want to try to do anything to see it earlier, or do you want to just wait until it appears naturally?
What I think Fergus is doing is taking the Chimera and drifting into the null zone, just crossing the border into it, making note of what the sensors are doing and how they're reading.
Ooh, yeah.
And then drifting back and comparing those, trying to get a sense of what the changes are, and how his ship performs and sensors. So he's doing a lot of, he's bouncing between the bridge and the engineering department area. So there's a lot of singing to himself. There's a lot of singing as he's tapping on walls. But that's what he's doing is he wants to get a sense of how what his sensors are doing, so he knows what the readings are going to be, what readings mean if he goes into the null zone. That's one thing he's doing. The other thing he's doing is space pirates are a thing. This used to be a yacht. There are defenses on this ship. They've been shut up and, so that's the other thing that he's doing is working on getting the ship's either offensive and defensive capabilities online as best as possible.
Well, let me go over some things here.
Okay.
You have a state-of-the-art tracking system,
Mm-hmm.
And you have access to local data wherever you are. You can quickly interpret networks. Ship is very old. It was retrofitted half a dozen times or more. You have built-in litter boxes and a Roomba named Mo. So the weapon system probably, you do need at least basic defense given what you do. So it's entirely possible such things have been fitted or retrofitted. But it was not a main feature of the ship necessarily. As again, this was a pleasure yacht.
Yeah.
But what I will then ask you to do as this sort of blanket thing is to we're going to act under pressure to see how we are getting everything into place.
Okay. Get my sheet back up here. Just balance.
That is a 9. Falter, buckle, or break. GM can offer you a worse outcome, a hard bargain, or an ugly choice.
Give me an ugly choice.
All right. Well, I mean, this is the easiest ugly choice that comes to mind for me. Well, easy choice. It's not an easy choice.
Yeah, sure.
This comes to mind just as a very easily to me. That your choice is you're trying to do 2 things here.
Yeah.
And you're probably only really going to be able to do one of them well. So either you can have very good information about how the ship and everything else and the comet and everything else is going to react with the null zone and be prepared for it, or you can have your weapon system ready, beefed up any way you need to, and functioning perfectly.
The knowledge, because I can use that to have that'll give me. It's Fergus's way of thinking is if I have this knowledge that they don't have, I can use that to my advantage. I know he knows how to navigate in the null zone. He'll know how to navigate in the null zone that the others don't have.
Okay. Yeah, you're going to be able to figure out kind of that it's an interesting thing. You think that there are pockets of normality, for lack of a better term, to make it a little bit easier. Takes longer for the signals to go out. Then there are also points, some pitfalls. It's like, oh, the engine's going to fail if we go in there. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you're able to sort of suss that out. As you are... Mm-hmm.
Can he figure out how to make notations in that map that Caledron gave Jackson?
Funny thing, there's coding involved. So if Jackson gives you permission to do so, because it's coded to Jackson, then you can.
I will ask Jackson if I can do that, because I want to have that map of the null zone with the notations of where those pockets are. You're muted.
Muted.
Oh, yes, that makes sense. Yes, here. I might as well, add to the roll of history and whatnot.
So, yeah, basically, it's you figure out how to do that, how to give permission. And then so Fergus now has permission to edit that part of the document, and is able to make these notations to update how things are going with the null zone. And as you are coming to a point that you've figured out kind of what you're going to need to do, it's not like that. It's not at a point that every time you go in it'll be fine, but at least you've got it sorted. You think, as far as you're for the most part, you should be able to deal with this fairly safely. Now, remember, I asked a question a bit ago, and the answer that you gave me has fallen out of my head, so I have to ask this again. My apologies. Are you just waiting for the comet to appear naturally, or are you trying to detect it?
I think that's part of learning the sensors within the null as he's backing in and out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be part of how can I track this with what my sensors are seeing.
It does involve sensing kind of into another dimension, which is not something that the ship is good at, but is not impossible.
Okay.
So it's funny because after looking at the null zone, you're like, okay, it's really a question of figuring out where a thing isn't.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What is this empty space where there wouldn't necessarily be empty space? You have void, of course, but it's like there's always, I don't want to say always, but it's like there are signs that can tell you where there should be, where there would be something, and there's nothing. And so you're able to, you think you can spot the trail of the comet. And you're going to find yourselves being able to, you can now, if you wish, you can drift closer and spy it as it appears.
At this point, Fergus is going to Jackson and whoever else is going to be available for the plan as, I got you here. I know how to get around. I can move the ship. What's next? The next part of planning this is not his bailiwick. Jackson's the man with the plan.
Well, now we have to, we know where they're coming to. We are going to have to intercept their ship, possibly. I don't know if if a boarding action is necessary. Hopefully not. But either we're going to have to intercept them on the ground and we're going to have a struggle for the key, or we're going to have to board their ship and get it. Which one do you think is more likely to be successful? As a person who does ships.
Well, does Fergus think he can land the Chimera on the comet before it arrives in the null zone?
Yeah. Yeah, you should be able to do it. You'll have a window. You'll have a... Yeah, now that you can see where it flickers in and out, you should have a window. It'll take a little tricky maneuvering to get it during one of the earlier flickers, which will be less stable, but but it is possible to do it.
That's what we're gonna do. We'll meet him on the comet.
All right.
We're not set up for fighting between ships.
All right.
Okay. Then you see this comet appear, and I've gone ahead and shown the first image, in which it is, once again, this is an image I don't have public rights to, so I can't show it on the stream. But just to give an idea of what that looks like, let me see if I can provide. Do I have a link? I don't have a link right on me, but.
If I knew that you needed an image
comet
of a comet,
no.
I'd give you one of mine.
Oh, no worries. But that's the first one. And so you see this thing blink into existence, seemingly, as you're gauging its pattern. So The last thing I'm going to ask you to do here is to see if you can land on the thing.
Okay.
So, unless you're trying to punch the comet into submission, then this is going to be acting under pressure.
All right.
Once
I
more.
really feel like Roll20 is about to screw with me.
Yeah,
But-
probably.
We'll have to see.
Yep.
Ah! So, you're going to be able
I
to
knew it
make
was
it,
coming.
but the key was being able to make it before someone else does.
Oh.
You follow along, finding you almost make it down and then it flickers out just before you can get there, and you have to pull up. So there are a couple of times that you're maneuvering around back and forth. It's like, you're going to get on this thing. And eventually, as you're on the far side of the comet, and you see it burn to life once again, blue tail streaking out behind it, you gun it and move forward. And as you do so, on the opposite side of the comet, your sensors first pick it up. There is a ship approaching. You punch up a visual as best you can get, trying to remain concealed on this side of the comet as you are coming in for a landing. You can't not land right now.
Right.
And this even will be visible. Jackson will probably also can see this through a window or through or on a monitor. The ship that is approaching to do exactly what you're doing on another part of the comet, probably, that looms into view. This ship that you are seeing is not the Timberwolf. Although I don't know if either of you have seen the Timberwolf.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, this ship it's a longer white ship, and you can see on it the emblem of the Crown Mining Corporation.
Oh.
And this, I think, is where we are going to leave it for this week.
Sure. This is fine.
Yeah, Jackson just kind of looks and says, "God damn it, Gretful."
That.
Oh, boy.
There was an expedition, remember?
Yep.
That was
I've
going
got
to
that
happen.
meta knowledge. I remember.
But that's true. That's true. I don't know if everyone knows that was coming.
Yeah, I think.
Because
Yeah,
it's more-
I don't think Fergus knew. Fergus.
I don't think Fergus might not know,
You're good.
actually. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
Fergus doesn't know.
We are real good at sharing information in this
Yeah,
party. You know?
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Super
Jackson might
great.
not know either.
Well, some information.
Yeah. This is, as it turns out, it's, as we will discover very soon, it's more than just the Ascendancy that was interested in this comet.
Yep. Now this is going to be the ship that's got Markov on it, correct?
Out of character? Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought I remembered. Like I said, meta knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Oh God.
Well, here we are.
We got it. We're here.
We're at the comet. We have made it to the comet. We're very close to the end now. One way or the other.
Great. Cool.
We have, I feel 1 or 2 sessions left, depending on who we have and what happens, basically.
Yeah.
As we've finally made it. We made it to Comet Attis, the spectral comet. We are here, and I am very excited.
Same.
But it will be a little time, as I am actually going on a trip. I'm going out of town.
Yeah.
So, I will. It's going to be a couple of weeks. I have to go see family. And it's I'm looking forward to seeing how things land when we come back. It'll be in mid to late October when we return, and I can't believe we're almost there. We are almost there. We're going to go ahead and go around and say hi. We've said hi a long time ago. We're going to go ahead and do our outros. Feel free to tell folks where they can find you, if you like, and feel free to plug anything you like, and any final thoughts you have at this point on the game. And we shall start once again with Cleric.
Hello, I'm Cleric of Cord. You can find me on Blue Sky and lurking in a bunch of Discord servers. 'Cause that's what I tend to do, is lurk. Other than that, this is pretty much the only thing I've got going online right now. Again, as always, did get some stuff in the works. We're getting there eventually. And if we're around when it's popped off, I'll let you know. Other than that, you can just look for it on Blue Sky when it happens. Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so nervous. Bon voyage, Jim.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, me too. And finally, we go over to Hollow.
Hey, I'm Hollow. You can find me on Blue Sky at Hollow Invective. Also, you can find me here on channel Underdark on Tuesday nights doing our 9 Fox Gambit campaign that has twice as many trigger warnings than this game. Somehow.
So many. Nice. Yes, it's a wonderful game. It is very interesting. It is very exciting. There's a lot of intrigue, and I cannot wait to get back to it. But yes, the channel will be on hiatus for a couple of weeks while I'm out of town, and then I will return, and then stuff will happen. That's basically where we are. So let's see, who am I? That's the time-honored question. I'm Jim. You can find me at Otherdoc on Twitch, YouTube, and most social media platforms. Wherever I'm not Otherdoc, I am Jim Yes That Jim. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. Down below here on Twitch, you can access my website, social media links, YouTube channel, and various other things. Again, as I stated, it's we're on hiatus until my channel's on hiatus until about mid to late October, and then we will get going again with everything, and that includes this game concluding soon on Sunday afternoons when we have folks available, and 9 Fox Gambit on Tuesday evenings, and every other week I play old text adventure games with my friend Lucci on Thursday afternoons when he's available. And there may be more stuff coming soon, announcements about more stuff coming soon, but we will talk about that later. So in the meantime, let's see, we're probably going to go say hi to somebody. Let's see, a few folks are streaming right now, so we'll go and say hi to them. Feel free to hang on if you're so inclined and say hi to them with us. It'll be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we will catch you next time. Farewell.